All right, we are live at the Purple Acorn tent at RecFest 2025. It is great to be here. I want to give a special shout out to Purple Acorn and Basic Capital for making these interviews happen. We had a great set of interviews yesterday, and today is going to be the same. I would love to introduce our guest. Why don't you tell us who are you, what do you do, and who do you do it for? That's how I always started out.
Yeah, my name is Caroline Kiesler. I'm the Director of Human Resources at Workwear Outfitters. So under my scope is everything from talent acquisition, business partnering, engagement, learning and development in a global capacity. So everywhere
Amazing.
but Central and South America. We've got an HR director down there.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you were, before this role, were you in recruiting as well?
Yeah.
So walk us through that journey.
I grew up in recruiting. I got to HR.
Did you grow up wanting to
recruiting.
be a recruiter?
No. Oh my gosh. Does anyone? It's like we all stumble into recruiting. I actually thought I wanted to do sales and ended up in a staffing firm. So my first job was a recruiter in a staffing firm, and I didn't want the promotion into sales, and I was the first person that didn't want a promotion.
Wow.
I wanted to stay. There's nothing like changing someone's life by getting them a job. And so I eventually made my way over to corporate recruiting. But I knew that I didn't want to be a vice president of just talent acquisition. I didn't want a slice of the pie. I want the whole pie.
I love that.
So it took timing and the right leadership to finally make the jump over. So I've been fully in the HR space for about 3 years now.
Now, a lot of TA people I talk to, obviously it's been a rough kind of few years for talent acquisition. So a lot of them are looking at maybe transitioning into HR
Yeah.
and maybe some of these kind of similar fields. What advice do you have for somebody who's maybe been in talent acquisition for 3 to 5 years and they're thinking, hey, I want to actually switch. I maybe want to try a different area of the business.
Yeah.
How do you kind of, what would be the best strategy to get into that type of role?
I think you have to get closer to the business to get closer to HR. So start partnering with your HR director. Ask to sit in on their learning and development sessions. I think that recruiters have such amazing gut instinct on organizational design and how the work should flow. So you've got to start approaching HR. You got to start telling people that that's what you want and having the right leader that'll start giving you the exposure. I ended up giving our total orientation, onboarding, and a piece of learning and development to my recruitment team to start expanding them to giving them more opportunities because I think they're totally capable of doing more.
Yeah, I love that. What are maybe some things that, if someone's thinking about doing a transition, what are some things they should kind of know transitioning into HR that might kind of catch people off guard or maybe they don't think about?
I think one of the biggest leaps I made as a recruiter in becoming a better recruiter was when I understood compensation philosophy. So today, as a recruiter, you just find, here's the range, go, right?
Well, sometimes.
Right. But when you know how to evaluate a job for your company, so you understand the accountability, the authority, the decision-making, the global nature, you have such a deeper understanding that I think compensation philosophy is such an interesting place for recruiters to really start digging in to understand the why.
Yeah, I love that. Any kind of resources, like what's the best place to go, do you think, to kind of learn about?
I mean, you can just type into any search platform, compensation philosophy, the job leveling tools.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of like a 5-page document. It's very public. We use Aon for it. So it's an easy document to procure.
Amazing. So is this your first time at RecFest?
No, this is actually my third year. Since I'm local, I've seen it grow year over year.
What's been? It's I've been here all three events as well. So like past 2 years, and obviously seen a lot of changes. What's been the biggest change for you that stuck out in terms of like vendor content, like what people are thinking about?
I think it's just getting sharper and sharper every year. There's more people that are coming, more relevant vendors, bigger players.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about some of the speakers that we started with 3 years ago versus the speakers they were able to attract this year. Like, it's worth the time to get on a plane and get to Nashville for this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, last year was raining a little bit.
Yeah,
this year
yeah.
we didn't have that worry.
Oh my gosh, it's perfect
hot,
this
it's
year.
outside. Hearing a lot of people excited about just the overall vibe, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
very not as corporate. You can really kind of connect.
Yes, that's the best part. I'm in sneakers, not heels today.
Exactly. That's the best part. Get to wear the shorts. I think one of the things we're going to be talking about later is we're going to have a fireside chat.
Yeah.
And it really approaching TA through the lens of HR, which I'm really excited about. Why don't you give us a little preview on kind of like what we're going to be talking about, like why it's important and why recruiters should be tuning in?
Yeah, I think it's really important to when I, as an HR leader, am thinking about talent acquisition, I'm thinking about the whole pie. So if I have $100,000 to invest, I'm not just thinking about talent acquisition. And I think that people need to hear that. I think that they need to know that when you're looking at the full employee life cycle, you have to be objective for what your business needs. I also think that HR has a unique perspective over talent acquisition, how they're underutilized, how they can do more, how they can evolve. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be great.
What's one area that you think, hey, recruiters, this is a way to upskill in 2025? Like, I guess with your team, what are you having them focus on?
I think my team's going to be focusing on development.
Yeah.
When I think about the output of work that I have as an HR director, and what the business needs right now is more development in leadership, succession planning, things like that. So I am getting them involved in manager and director trainings. Even going to have them run 1 or 2 activities during these 4-hour trainings. But I'm also bringing them to the table for succession planning. Because they're having the conversations with the employees as their candidates about, what do you want in 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
They know they're so well connected to the business just because they're hiring all over the business that development piece, that succession planning piece, I'm bringing them to the table.
Yeah, and it seems like now, I mean, across the board, whatever area you're in, whether you're in marketing, HR, sales, recruiting, whatever you're doing, there's the expectation now of how are you bringing value to the business.
Yes.
How are you going to level up next year? How are you using data? How are you looking at the activity you're doing? What are the results it's bringing? And I think for TA, that can be a challenge, right? We get labeled as the cost center versus the ROI. So I think using these tools, not to necessarily just replace all the things we don't want to do, but using it to get more strategic, it's huge. What advice do you have for, maybe people who are like up and coming on how they can get more strategic? Like, do they need to be, you mentioned partnering with HR, any other like resources or activities they should be doing that you kind of would advise them to do?
Yeah, you're connected to hiring managers, but just by the nature of your job. So you've got to go deeper with your hiring managers. You have to understand and be able to help them solve the problem of, if they are going to go 40 plus days without someone in the role, how can they reconfigure the work on their team before you hire the person? You have an hour with them. You should be going deeper in those conversations to influence them, to build your credibility. And that's just going to help you have a better visibility to leadership. It's going to make people start saying your name in rooms that you're not even in. And it's a way to expand what you do without having to burn more time. You're already having these meetings with the managers, so why are we only talking about recruiting in that meeting? You have their ear, so go deeper.
I think it's huge. It's building the relationships. I was talking to someone yesterday. Obviously, there's so many tools, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we can look at it and go, that's what we need. We need another tool. We need some automation. But the truth is, if you're working with a great hiring manager, if you're working with a hiring manager you don't have that relationship with, you don't have that credibility, it doesn't matter what tools you have. it doesn't matter what the tech stack is, you're not going to get the roles filled.
No.
Do you have like a go-to way of kind of connecting with hiring managers, or what advice would you have for, like, let's say someone who's junior and they're trying to connect with a leader in the business? Like, how do they approach those conversations to build that credibility?
So if they're your hiring manager, then you're coming into the meeting with insights to give them.
Yeah.
So before they're ever speaking, you're talking about, this is what's going on in the market. Externally, this is where I could see internal talent coming into. You're bringing the insights before they ever ask for them.
I love that.
Yeah, I hate
So
when...
we're talking about like salary, location of
Yeah, like
where people are at, what companies are at.
what gut feel, this is what I'm seeing on LinkedIn, but this is what employment data is saying. I don't think they align, but and this is why. So having those insights before they're ever like, this is what I need, before you're really getting into the weight of the conversation, just builds that type of credibility. I don't love if one of my recruiters in their performance review or their goals for the year wrote, I want to increase my time to fill by 2 days, I would immediately send it back. I want to have better data insights to influence my managers.
Yeah, huge.
That's how you build credibility. And that's how the manager is going to come back to your office. They're going to give you feedback immediate. They're going to view you as the ultimate professional and make them level up to your standard.
I love that. Being prepared. And I coach candidates on that all the time when you go into interviews.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's the best use of AI, is to gather that data, have that intelligence, go in.
So easy.
Be smarter. And I think if you're not going into those conversations like that,
yes,
that first impression, it counts. And if you have a bad first impression, everything else is a battle then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, how are you going to consult them on who to hire, who the best candidate's going to be?
It's so true. And you have to remember, your hiring managers are not interview experts.
Yeah.
They might have to hire someone once every 2 years.
Yeah.
So they're just as nervous as the candidates walking through the door. So you also have to give them you have to build them up so they feel confident. They're not going to tell you they don't know how to interview. You have to assume that they don't know what they're doing here.
Yeah.
So what else can you provide them? You've learned about the role. What interview questions can you create for them specifically? And I'm not talking a whole booklet, like 1 or 2. Make sure you ask these 2 questions, because it'll help you understand this. Because they're not good interviewers at the end of the day. They need to learn.
Well, that's why you end up with these processes that are round and
Oh
round
my
and round.
gosh.
Same question over and over. And I always like to ask, why are you asking a question? What information are you getting?
Yeah.
And it's the same from the candidate perspective too. A lot of them are trying to prepare questions beforehand. I'm like, no, be involved in the conversation.
Yes.
Let the questions be organic. So
right.
Where can people find out more about you? Where can people connect with you? And what's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, definitely on LinkedIn when it comes to my professional self.
I've heard of
Of that place.
Amazing. And then we'll be, is it Inspire Stage?
I think so. Or is it the Unplugged
Innovate,
stage?
Unplugged.
It's one of them.
One of the stages at 1:30. I'm super excited to host the conversation. And guys, once again, a special shout out to Purple Acorn for hosting these conversations. And we got a gift from our friends at Basic Capital as well for you.
Nice.
So huge shout out to Basic Capital for sponsoring, making this content possible. And Caroline, thank you so much. Looking forward to our chat later.
I know. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.